if you're just watching series, if you're just trying to improve from movies or from music or from games, it doesn't matter. You need to be a little more systematic about that. So taking notes and learning, a quick tip I can give you about notes, it's try both. A lot of people take notes and they write the translation of words right in front of it. And they keep making a long list of words that I'm learning from that movie or that game, whatever. And writing with that translation, it's not very, by my experience, not very good, because the people who try to do the same thing but not writing the translation in front of it, they learn much more. Because every time they were adding a new word to their list, they were supposed to check all the other old words that they previously they took notes over there. So by checking the words you once learned, you review that word, and you were supposed to, of course, remember that word. And if you're just with the translation of that word in front of it, you don't think about that. So that's where you get, oh, what's that again? So always write just the word, don't write the translation of it.
And something that I usually tell people, translation, it could be okay if you're starting, but I think it's much better if you can associate the word with a mental picture in your head, like associate the word with the actual thing instead of associating the word with another word, right? I'm not sure that's what you're saying, but if I'm saying like, oh, this cup here, instead of thinking of the word in Portuguese, when I hear the word cup, I need to like imagine
have the image in
the image in my mind, associate with the actual thing, right? The actual object.
When you're talking about this learning, that's what I follow and I always recommend to my students. It's the PNL. It's in Portuguese saying this, but it's the neuro linguistic programmation.
Okay.
This neuro-linguistic programmation is about the skills you have for learning a language. You just mentioned about the picture, so you're mentioning visual. And you also mentioned the audio, so it's the sound, cup, but you also have the motion, which is for a cup, not much of a motion, but the synesthetic and motion are important because when you're talking about this, you're talking about the experience of that. So if you mention the cup, you automatically can connect it to something you really like to drink. So it reminds you of a feeling, of maybe experiences. So this is the whole environment around that. And talking of translating things, translation works as well as other techniques also work. But what you have to keep in mind is how fast you are learning and how effective you are learning. So if you think that you are stuck, try to change. There are several ways of learning a language. And if you are really focusing and improving your English, try to balance your skills. I always say this to people. Don't just read or just type or just listen or just speak. I believe that speaking is the best one, is the toughest one. But I already know people who lived abroad for several years and then they needed to at some point type, so they didn't know how to type, or they didn't know how to deal with write an email, something like that, which is very important nowadays. So I always recommend you learn all skills, even though you maybe need more to type or to speak in English, whatever it is. Try to balance all of them. That's more interesting because you follow the pattern of a specific word. You always connect, like the way you spell one word to another word, maybe the sound of one word, you can predict how you spell it. So it's always the best option to balance your skills. It's about not giving up, trying different ways, because some people are very focused about the fun part of English. And of course, we all want to have fun learning English. I learned the fun way, but I know several people will not learn only from getting in touch with their favorite games and music series, because you need to organize, you need to learn from it, and you need to have someone to assist you. If you have some skills, maybe you can get easier how to pronounce, but the tongue could be an enemy for some people, how they speak, how they pronounce, and sometimes they lack feedback about that. But for example, nowadays we have several apps that recognize your voice, closed captions. If you're talking right now, I'm talking to you. Many apps, they have automatically generated captions. If you're reading the captions that are being generated by your voice, you have some feedback. Although this is not enough. It helps, but it's not enough for you to improve.
Yeah.
That's when teachers or someone who speaks better than you can give you some help about that.
One thing that I can recommend people is watching this podcast, because you're going to be learning, not learning, but like improving your listening skills, practicing your listening skills. And I mean, it's a way, if you find that this is fun, that this is relevant to you. In my personal experience, I really love podcasts.
Yes,
I watch a lot of content online on YouTube, and if I'm learning a language, and I say this, but I'm preaching, but I'm not practicing. Because what I tell people usually is like, oh, look for content that you like, something, let's say you're interested in, I don't know, geopolitics. And then if you can find a very good video in your target language talking about that subject, that topic that you enjoy, then, I mean, go for it, use the captions and actively try to, learn new words, pause the videos and look up the meanings and try maybe forming sentences with it. So
yes, it's a good tip. It's a good tip. And I would recommend also doing that when you're doing an activity that takes a lot of your time and your ears are available. Okay. So, for example, if you are working out, and some people love listening to music, of course, but if you are able to work out and listen to this podcast at the same time, of course, you're doing two things at the same time. If you're doing the dishes, maybe. If you're driving, a lot of people take advantage of their bad time for improving their listening skills.
It is an amazing tip. Yes, I should follow that tip because I'm not following. I've been trying to learn German forever, and my German is not improving. And now I started learning Russian, which is even more challenging because it's a whole new alphabet. But yeah, maybe I'll put those tips into.
Yeah, there are several tips that apply to all languages, and
yeah,
this is a good one. Listening to podcasts while you're doing another activity that will just, be in silence. You could be listening.
Exactly.